Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about GameStop stock. This might be just a little bit too late too, because this video I was going to make yesterday and it probably would have helped you out way more yesterday, but I digress. Let's go over what's happening with GME 2021 right now, February 24th. Let's do it. Okay, so it's been basically sold off. If you have not been paying attention to GME, then you must be living under a rock. So for the most part, everyone kind of had this whole their own moment with GME. They might have bought at the top and sold at the bottom. They might have bought at the bottom and sold at the top. They might still be holding. Some of you I know are still holding. Some of you maybe you're speculators on the sidelines. Whether or not you are participating in the rally, it doesn't really matter. Basically today you had a huge option opportunity, and I wanted to make this video yesterday because I felt like this was a huge option opportunity, and in fact I missed this opportunity too, so I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot. Today you could have turned $1,000 into $1 million just today in 2 hours with weekly options on GME. I think it was like the 330 calls were like 50,000% up. Projected value from GME going up so quickly in such a short period of time. So it had a whole phase where it was sold off down to like $4 like at the beginning or in the middle of last year during the March crash. It sold down like $4, and let me just bring it up. And within some period of time of people trying to take positions and long it and say it was going to go up, it started just consolidating for a good period of time. It was just like $10, $12, $18. And it had this slow consolidation and run up till it finally hit about $60, $45 or $60, and then it popped, like a super pop. Everyone was paying attention to it. It hit about $400 a share. It says $350 here, but I was watching it in the market when it was $400 a share. And people were buying it still then, saying it was going to go to $1,000 a share. So they kind of got caught holding the bag as it was then turned around and sold down to, it looks like, about $90. So it went under $100, and once it went under $100, it just kind of slowly dropped down to 60 and then 50. It tried to make a run after 50 to like 70, and it's just been slowly selling all the way down to, it was kind of around $45 today. So $45 in the middle of the day, and you could have bought options for $100 this week for about $15 each. At the end of the day, they would have been worth $2,000 each. So you could have turned $15 into $2,000 with a really safe $100 option call. Safe, relatively safer because it's so close to the money. Or you could have been really crazy and gone all out and done like I think the highest projected increase in value on the option spread was the 330 call with a 50,000% increase, which means you could have bought those for $1 this morning and sold them for about $600 or so near the end of the day. If you could have sold them, possibly you wouldn't have been able to sell them because they kept halting it throughout the day. As GameStop's gone up in price today, the stock kept jumping up drastically fast enough to where they would halt it, hoping maybe to de-incentivize buyers, but it just kept running up, so they kept halting it. If you would have caught one of those increments right before the end of the day trading, when they halted it around 90, right before they halted it around 91.70, you would have been able to take that $1 330 call and sell it for like $600, $700, or almost $1,000 maybe if you timed it just right. So that basically would be like you taking $1,000 and turning it into $1 million in one day. Now, knowing this would happen, you probably would have known. Likelihood, probably pretty unlikely unless you time it just right to know the day it's going to happen. But this looked like the week that it was consolidating and it was running up. So the market closed with GME stock being halted. Now, the people are speculating basically that there are still too many shares, outstanding shares that are being shorted. And what this basically means is that a bunch of short sellers are still holding their shorts, and that the actual exchange trading platforms could be at risk of getting penalized for a failure to deliver. And a failure to deliver notice for like millions of shares could be a huge, huge problem for the entire financial market. So this is actually something that's kind of gone from a niche, interesting debacle around one stock, it's kind of manifested into a huge array of problems for the entire financial system. Because at some point, if there's a huge failure to deliver on a lot of these shares, then it's going to just be like lifting the curtain up behind. It's just going to be like pulling up the curtain and showing all the failure and inadequacies of the system to regulate itself, basically allowing people to short shares that don't exist. So if you understand what short selling is, it's basically them borrowing shares and saying that they'll buy it back later, hopefully at a lower price for them to make money. Ideally, they're going to make money in this by holding till it goes down. A lot of short sellers are so culturally against the businesses that they're short selling, they kind of want to drive the business to bankruptcy, which means that they would get to keep all of the money and pay nothing, basically, or sell it back like right before. So the idea here is basically that there's too many shares still being shorted, meaning that there's not enough shares of GameStop to actually be delivered to the people who are buying the shares, retail or otherwise. Now, this basically was a really big, interesting position for Roaring Kitties or Deep Effin' Value to take, doubling his position. I don't know how many shares he bought, but he doubled his position, and that basically just really secures the shortage of shares in the open market. And so today, the average trading volume of GameStop went from about 14 million shares traded to about up to 40 million shares traded. And after hours, when it started to run up because of the shortage of shares and the increased demand, people still buying it, the last time this happened, some of the short sellers were forced to close their positions before they took too many losses, which meant a whole bunch of shares were just being rebought that didn't even exist. So these price fluctuations and this increased volatility is kind of like one of the indicators of the failures of the derivative system to take accountability for itself, to self-regulate in a sense. And that is one of the advantages that we were able to take advantage of as an option trader, using volatility to our advantage. Now, as the market closed today around 91.70 on GME price, it was halted into closing, and as soon as the market closed, it took a huge run after hours. After hours, I think I'm watching it right now, and it went all the way to 170 after hours, which is huge, a huge price move for after hours trading. But in after hours trading, there's also lower volume, meaning that potentially whales with a big buy or sell order can move the price much more dramatically or drastically than they would during open trading hours. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with GameStop stock tomorrow. So I really want to see possibly some kind of correction in the opening hours of tomorrow, and I would like to take long positions expecting possibly another surge towards a couple $100 in share. But again, this is a pretty risky endeavor. It might be more intelligent at this point to wait for the asset to reach somewhat of a new peak and try to short it from there. But both of these are very, very risky plays to take. But this is the video I wanted to make yesterday. I wanted to tell you guys about just some general ideas about what GameStop is doing. I know people are still holding, that have been holding since they bought it at 300, and they don't want to take a loss, so they're just diamond handing through. And this is, again, something that it looked like it consolidated down to a low enough price for a long enough time that people weren't expecting it to take this run. But it was kind of just like a rest period for people to regather before, I think, the reality of the information coming out. The short sellers still have kept their positions. So most of the people that had closed their positions as short sellers had retaken positions at the higher share price and then closed again when it dropped, and they've probably retaken positions multiple times in a hedge, probably to hedge some of the long positions they have in case it goes up. They have shorts, and possibly in order to hedge their shorts, they have long positions. So I don't think that there's an easy answer of where it's going to go or what's going to happen with tomorrow's trading hours, but I'm excited to see where it opens tomorrow. It's around 140 right now. It came down from 170 down to 137, and potentially I'd like it to open low tomorrow and then sell off a little bit before it runs up again. But this again is just hopeful speculation, because I really, really was paying attention to the option price throughout the week, and I was looking at different calls, and I wanted to buy $100 calls today, and I just completely missed that opportunity. I can't believe I saw them for $1, and I was just thinking well, maybe it'll go down a little more, and I'll be able to get a little bit lower, like a $95 call for $1. And in that moment, it just popped, and I'm just sitting there watching it run up. And as options work, as you know, as soon as it takes a run like that at such speed and so quickly, it increases the value of all the contracts. It projects so much value into all the contracts moving into the week that all the prices were so high. I just felt like, man, there's got to be potential for it to correct tomorrow with some of the theta decay and possibly some sell-off. But instead, after hours, it went up another 70%. So I'm not sure. I can't tell you exactly what the plays are to make on this, but I just wanted to let you know and throw up a video talking about GME today, talking about where it's going to go. People are obviously still holding, expecting for it to make a new peak, so it'll be like above 450. People are still calling out for $1,000 a share, and some people are still saying that it's just going to possibly have another run up like this to 200 and then sell off. But using Volkswagen as a historical benchmark to like what happens with short selling stocks, if we look at Volkswagen short squeeze in 2008, you can see, ooh, yeah, charted. I put a 1 on it. You can see that there's actually a huge run up for Volkswagen stock. That happens basically, looking at like June 2008, it's under $200. This first super spike, it runs up to like 420, 450, 460, 440. And it sells off real hard all the way down to 200 again. So it's basically what just happened with GME. And then from that, and this is in pounds too, so $200 a pound, it went up to 440 a pound, down to about 200 a pound again. And then in the last burst of its push, it went all the way up to $1,000 a pound. So if people are asking if GME will repeat this cycle, I'm not sure. Potentially, if you look at the consolidation of Volkswagen and the consolidation and growth of its first run up and squeeze, it looks a little bit different. The charts look a lot different. It looks like there was a whole lot more awareness around GME's first squeeze. So potentially, I don't know if people are setting their, I saw some people on Wall Street Bets. I don't even want to mention Wall Street Bets, but of course you have to if you're going to say something about GME. Wall Street Bets has been kind of back and forth on being correct for a million different things. Like usually they're wrong. They were right about this early on, and then people diamond-handed through like a huge sell-off. And we'll see if they were correct in doing so. We'll see if we reach a new all-time high. And the people that have set their sell limits or the sell orders to $10,000 a share or $100,000 a share, we'll see if that works, if that fills. People are saying like GME's the next Bitcoin. It's going to go to 40K, 50K. This is just possible speculation and completely asinine to say that, but also not completely outside the realm of possibility when you look at the interest and the reality of there not being enough shares for people to actually be able to get the shares they're buying. The platforms themselves like having possibly a predicament of a failure to deliver notice for not having the shares. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that means. And that's possibly why the financial markets have been so incentivized to kind of keep halting this as it goes up. And it's almost become like class warfare in a sense. Like what does that look like for the people to not have equal playing field like we're supposed to? It's almost like the reality of people not having the same access to financial systems that other people do. So what does that look like for the week? I'm not sure. Tomorrow I'm going to probably just watch GME and see if there's a good price on some of the option calls for this week or next week. Again, today you could have spotted this run up and timed it just right, and you would have taken $1,000 to $1 million if you would have sold it and bought it at just the right time. So possibly you could have messed up and taken half that value. You could have made $500K today. Or yeah, that's good numbers. Good day for making 500,000. So that's pretty much my thoughts on GME. No one knows where it's going to go. Some people like, people who are professional investors are staying away from it. People who are have a low risk tolerance are staying away from it. They're on the sidelines. People who are excited about the cultural movement of people gathering around one stock and fighting Wall Street. It seems like if you're not making money, possibly it's a bad decision to band together with people from the internet you don't know. But it's a cultural phenomenon. It looks like people are still obviously really saying they like the stock. So This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. You're beautiful and amazing just how you are. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, click the share button, and tell me what you're doing tomorrow. Are you going to buy GME? Are you going to sell? Do you already have it? Are you diamond handing? You going to wait for the next run up? Do you think we'll reach a new peak? What's the peak? Tell me in the comments. Comment peak. Okay, bye.
Brought to you by your teeth.